What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Let's start off with the news that dropped earlier today. The New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. It's only 5 games. They're 2-3 on the year. Saleh finishes 20-36 in 3+ years as the New York Jets head coach. This is his 4th year on the job. If you've seen this show for more than probably 5 minutes during football season and sometime in the last 2 or 3 years, you know my feelings on him. He was not a good head coach. He was absolutely terrible. He needed to go. This is a very surprising time to do it. I thought they would let the season play out. You know, you have a game against the Bills coming up, a really big game. Maybe you wait, until that, after that game, if they look really bad against the Bills. All right, you're 2-4. Now you have a really tough schedule coming up. If this isn't the guy, move him. Move off of him, and then try and see if that sparks something. Maybe, but this is a weird time to do it. They've promoted Jeff Ulbrich to be their interim head coach, the defensive coordinator. There's not a ton of options there. You cannot make Nathaniel Hackett the interim head coach. You just can't do that. You cannot make Nathaniel Hackett the head coach. That's not something that you can do. And so Ulbrich he was the best option. He's not. I don't think he's a bad defensive coordinator. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not he was really running the defense or if it was Saleh. But I'm sure he helps with the game planning and things like that, as a coordinator does either way, whether they call it push or not. So he was the best option for the interim coach. Very, very surprising. I didn't think they were going to do it. I've been calling for it for the last year and a half, but I thought they'd wait till the end of the year, and then when they go 6-11, whatever the season's going to end up. I projected them at 6-11. I just have no confidence in this organization. And then, they start off 2-3. Aaron Rodgers looks, like a 40-year coming off a torn Achilles, and the line's not much better, and they're taking 8 penalties a game. I'm like, oh, well, that looks pretty good. You're probably going to lose to Buffalo, puts you at 2-4. Now you have a really tough schedule coming up. It's not a great, it's not a great look for them. So Saleh is gone. Ulbrich is the interim head coach. Jets are clear. They're trying to spark something. They know. I mean, look, last year you make a trade for Aaron Rodgers, you put all your eggs in one basket, and it backfired in your face. Aaron Rodgers 4 plays and tears his Achilles. You had to go back to Zach Wilson. Was a disastrous year. You had a historically bad offense. You wasted an amazing defense. You go 7-10 again. You ran it back. You ran back Robert Saleh. You ran back Nathaniel Hackett. You ran back the GM Joe Douglas. You tried to make some improvements to the offensive line. You brought in Mike Williams to help the receiving core. You kept as many pieces on the defense as you could. And you ran it back with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he was going to be 40. Yes, he was coming to torn Achilles, but it's still a guy, who's a future Hall of Famer, a very good quarterback. You figured, all right. Last year, we thought with him, we could be a borderline Super Bowl contender. Maybe, as long as he's still a half-decent quarterback, especially with better off the line and a still good defense, we should still easily be a playoff contender, for sure. And obviously, Rodgers had, before the last game, I didn't think he looked bad. He looked okay against San Francisco. I thought he looked decent against Tennessee after a slow start. Played very well against the New England Patriots. Did not play well against Denver, but that was also a wet, sloppy game. So no one really played well offensively on either side. That was more on Saleh than on him. The Rodgers definitely deserves blame for that. But the last game, he looked horrible. Three interceptions. Look, the Vikings defense has played really well. That team is a legit contender. They've come out of nowhere. At the same time, 3 interceptions. And also, he's played the Vikings forever. He's broken their hearts time and time again in Green Bay. And all of a sudden, he comes to the Jets, and now he's throwing the ball to the other team. The pick six to Van Ginkel was horrible. And then you had the one you're driving and you throw a pick six. That was a killer because you were only down a field goal. You're driving, finally get something going, and then he throws a pick six. That was a killer. Then a couple drives later, just a horrible, horrible throw. When you're already down 10-0, and then late in the fourth quarter, they were coming back. You get to within a touchdown, chance to have a game-winning touchdown, and obviously gets picked off on the end of at the end of the game. So the Jets are not in a good spot by any means. They've never been in a good spot in 50 years, but they're definitely not in a good spot now. Jeff Albert is the interim head coach. You have a 40-year-old quarterback who's playing basically like a 40-year-old quarterback coming up with torn Achilles. You would think would look. The running game is weak. I don't know how. The offensive line's a little bit better, but it's still not very good. They still have a very good defense, but it's not as good as it was last year. It's still a top 10 defense in the league for sure. But yeah, Sauce Gardner's he's been a little bit undisciplined. He's got to work on that. I think he's still a stud corner. Secondary still is playing well. The pass rush has been good but not great. They've been good but not great against the run. Ever since that first game against the Niners, they've looked a little bit better, but still definitely some work to be done. Obviously, you haven't had CJ Mosley the last couple of games, which hasn't helped. Yeah, Hassan Reddick is still in freaking like Oshkosh, whatever the hell he's doing. He might have lost his full salary already this year at this point. But Robert Saleh is gone. As who next Jets head coach after the interim Jeff Albert, I can't imagine he keeps the job full time because I don't know how to just win more than 3 games. I gotta be honest. By the way, the season is over. The New York Jets season is over. Okay, it's done. Outside of maybe Miami if they don't have Tua, tolerantly the Dolphins. Maybe you can win those games. Maybe beat New England again, especially if Jacoby Brissett is still the quarterback. Other than that, I don't know how you beat the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they've come back down to earth the last 2 games a lot. Allen struggled the last 2 games, but I don't think they'll. Maybe they get 1 because if Josh Allen does some silly things, maybe. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think at best you're going 6-11. I just don't see, other than the games I just listed, like those 4 games I just listed, a couple division games, maybe a steal. I don't know what other games you're going to win this year. Jet season is over. At least this year, you kind of, personally, I expected this to happen, something like this to happen. But Saleh is gone. Maybe it sparks them, and they start playing a little better. But it's the Jets. I kind of have very low expectations that will happen. Igor Shesterkin, New York Rangers star goalie, declined a 8-year, $88 million extension. And look, I love Igor Shesterkin. Anybody who knows me, has watched this show, follows me on social media, knows I love Igor Shesterkin. My favorite professional athletes of all my teams. He's probably one of my 5 favorite players of any sport. I think he's at least a top 3 goalie in the sport. But I don't know what else he wants the New York Rangers to do. The Rangers are in a spot where, okay, last year was the year, and you missed it. You've gotten close a couple of times the last few years. Your window's starting to close. The team is getting expensive, getting a tiny bit older. Igor's in the last year of his deal. Your window is starting to close. If I don't win a Stanley Cup this year, which I do not expect, by the way, amateur preview coming Thursday, so keep your eyes on that. If you don't win the cup this year, I don't know what else you're going to do. This group has proven that they disappeared in the playoffs. Artemi Panarin in the regular season is one of the best players in the National Hockey League. He has disappeared in the playoffs every single year. Chris Kreider is one of the best goal scorers in the National Hockey League. He, in the playoffs, has been very inconsistent. Because the manager is one of the best players in the National Hockey League. He has disappeared in the playoffs every single year. Adam Fox is a guy who didn't play well in the playoffs last year. He's one of the best defensemen in all of hockey. And defensively, I don't think they're that good. They've proven that they cannot win the playoffs. Ryan Lingard's a good player, but he's always hurt. Trouba, don't get me started with him. He is just terrible. He has nothing left, that guy. And Kendra Miller is okay. To me, he's not the player that we thought he was going to be. I'm hoping Zach Jones, in his first full year, has a good year. I do think he will be a contributor for the New York Rangers this year. I'll also go more on Thursday when I do my intro preview. But you cannot have a goalie at $12 million a year and build a team around him. You just can't. The salary cap is too strict in the NHL. Look at Carey Price. At the top of his powers, he was already the best player in the league. He was the MVP one year, Carey Price. That's how good that guy was. If he won a Stanley Cup, he would be so clearly a Hall of Famer, it wouldn't even be funny. In fact, he should still get in, if I'm being honest. And, the Canadians signed for $10 million a year, and they couldn't build a team around it. That's why they never were able to get it done. The Bruins just paid Jeremy Swayman $8.2 million Thankfully, it was after free agency. They already brought in, Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov and other pieces to help them after they came up short again last year, losing in the second round to the Florida Panthers in 6 games. But 8.2. To me, that's a fair number. Like, yes, I knew that was going to make Igor's number go up, but even if he was at $9 million, that is still a big number. But you can live with that. 9, you can work with that. That's, obviously it makes it tougher, but also Igor is arguably the best goalie in the league. You got to pay the guy. You got to pay him what he's worth. But 8 for 8, to turn that down, I don't know what he wants. In fact, he's being greedy. I'm going to say it. Igor Shesterkin is being greedy. Like, I don't get what he wants. And look, yes, you need a goalie to win a Stanley Cup. You will not win a Stanley Cup without a goalie. If the Oilers had a better goalie than Stuart Skinner, they would have beaten the Florida Panthers. That's just the way it would have went. Their top 6 was so stacked. They had enough in the bottom 6. They were good enough defensively. They were well coached enough. If they had a better goalie, I think they would have beaten the Florida Panthers the way the playoff turned out last year. But you can't have a goalie, one player, in a league where, hockey really takes a full group to win a cup. You can't pay a goalie $12 million and expect to win a Stanley Cup. You won't be able to build a team. The Rangers, to me, they still need one more really good goal scorer in their top 6. Adding Robbie Smith is not going to do enough. And they need one more really solid defenseman. And if they give Igor all this money, they're not going to be able to afford it. They couldn't afford it before they signed Igor. Igor at what was he, 4.5, 5 something million? There's a reason why they had to let go of Barclay Goodrow and buy him out. There's a reason that the biggest offseason addition was Riley Smith, who had 40 points last year, and is 34, 35 years old. I think he's a decent player. I'll take him on the third line, but he'll probably be their first line right wing because they don't really have anybody else. So, the Rangers have 2 options. You cave, you give the guy $12 million, hope to God he win the cup this year, because otherwise you're screwed. You might have to start a rebuild with a $12 million goalie under contract for the next 7 years, which is going to be a disaster, or you trade him. The fact that even the thought of the Rangers trading Igor Shesterkin is just, it makes my brain all explode. But you got to start talking about it. It has to be talked about. Now, what would you get for him? Obviously, Shesterkin, I think any National Hockey League team would want Igor Shesterkin as their goalie. I don't know why you wouldn't. But if I'm a team, if I'm like, okay, the guy just turned on $11 million from one of the best teams in the league that was, 2 wins away from an Eastern Conference championship last year. Who's to say he'll want that money from us? I'm hearing things being like Ottawa. You sent this Omar another piece. Ottawa just traded for Omar, a guy who won the Vezina Trophy, 2 or 3 years ago? 2 years ago, he was the Vezina Trophy winner. Had another good year last year. Why would they trade that guy for a guy? Yes, Shesterkin is an upgrade over the line as Omar. For a guy who you're going to have to pay at least $11.5 million a year. Why would you do that? And, Ottawa, I think, has a good squad. And I think there's, as they mature, and they get another piece or two in the next year or two, could be contender very soon in the Eastern Conference. But, if you're thinking, all right, we're getting better in net, but if they're also trading, I don't know, somebody else, is that going to do anything for them? So, I don't know. On social media, I saw something. Maybe Buffalo does Uka Pekkanen, whatever his name is, and Dylan Cousins. Does Buffalo do that? I don't think they do. You have a good young goalie in Pekkanen. He just signed to a fair contract for both sides. He had a breakout year last year. He's proven that he's one of the better goalies in the league. Dylan Cousins is a very good young player. A team that's, obviously Buffalo Sabres are not a great organization. They have not made the playoffs in 13, 14 years, whatever it is, longest drought in the entire NHL. They can all sports besides the New York Jets, who were at 14 years, and they're going to be 15 because now with Robert Sala gone, as I just talked about. What are you going to get for him? If I don't know how they're going to get equal value for him. If Igor has said that he wants to be in New York. It's hard for me to believe that now. That he just turned his contract down. I don't understand. I don't know what he wants out of the Rangers. I really don't. I hope they come to a resolution soon enough. But it's hard to. That resolution is going to be. He wants more money than that, for sure. It's That's what I'm guessing. He wants more money, or he just doesn't want to be there. So hopefully that resolves itself, but I'm not liking the New York Raiders' options on that one. All right, so let's talk some MLB playoffs. Last night, you had the American League series, the division series. Tigers beat the Cleveland Guardians 3-0. Kerry Carpenter with a go-ahead 3-run home run on the top of the ninth off of Emmanuel Clase, one of the best relievers in all of baseball, to counter Tigers 3-0, and they even up that series at 1 game apiece as we head to Detroit, to Comerica Park in Detroit for Game 3. Tigers obviously have an incredible second half of the season, of course led by most likely American League Cy Young winner Tariq Skubal. They pick up a big win, and the Royals beat the Yankees 4-2, pick up a big win. The Cardinals were down out in the 4th inning of that game. They got 4 innings out of Cole Reagans, pitched decently. We only give up 1 run, but high pitch count forced him out. But the Royals bullpen gets just 1 run across 5 innings, and they pick up the win. Big win for the Royals. Now that series shifts to Kansas City, tied at 1 game apiece. This might be the best division series we've ever had. This is the first time ever that each series has been 1-1 in the division series at the same time. So tonight it's going to be the National League's turn. Obviously, Phillies and Mets. That game will most likely be just getting started by the time you guys see this, and Dodgers, Padres to follow that. Shifting to basketball, the Orlando Magic extended Wendell Carter 3 years, $59 million. They've extended a lot of their guys this offseason. He's become a very good player. Last year, not as slight regression after a couple of really good years. He averaged 11 points a game, almost 7 rebounds, shot 52 from the field, 37 from 3. The year before that, he averaged 15 and 8, 52 from the field, 35 from 3. Year before that, 15 and 10, 52 from the field, 32 from 3. So he shot the ball a little bit better, but overall didn't score as well, and and it wasn't as much of a force on the board. He's become a pretty solid player in Orlando. I think it's a fair contract. They're trying to lock down as many guys as they can. I mean, they're probably gonna have to pay Paul Banchero a zillion dollars after the season. But they got a very good young group, the Orlando Magic, and they keep Wendell Carter there for at least the next 3 years. Oh, and Shams! Congratulations to Shams! He has officially becomes ESPN Senior NBA Insider, replacing Woj. Good for him. Now, there was some crazy stuff they were talking about, like maybe Jeff Payson switching sports or Scheffler doing both. Shams has been like the number 2 guy behind Woj for years. He deserves it. Good for him. Monday Night Football was last night. Chiefs beat the Saints in that one to improve to 5-0. A season they win 26-13. Derek Carr is now, I think, 3. I think he's like 3-14 or 3-16 against Patrick Mahomes in his career. They're frauds. I told you after week 2, people were saying they're a contender. I told you no, they're frauds. And then they lose to the Eagles. Now they continue to lose. They're 2-3. That sounds a horrible coach. Derek Carr is washed. The team is old, very overly expensive. They've been in cap hell for what seems like 2 decades. Chiefs are still 5-0. Mahomes doesn't even point that well. They're still 5-0. And now that they don't even have any receivers. And on my Twitter space, Coach Sal just commented a lot of them got trapped. He did. I was a little worried in fantasy. I have one league where if he got I think 24 points or something, I would have lost. I was like, I don't know. Chiefs defense is pretty good, but Olave is a really good player. And then he did absolutely nothing. So that helped my fantasy team. But Chiefs pick up a big win, 26-13. The Saints, they are as fraudulent as it gets, and I guess Derek Carr, he just can't be Patrick Mahomes. He just not something he's able to do. All right, so I'm gonna do game picks for college football tomorrow. I may or not have a guest, so stay tuned for that. Most likely we'll have a guest or two. I'm probably gonna do game picks for NFL tomorrow. And then Thursday, like I said, will be my NHL preview. So let's talk about college football picks for this week. The Friday night game, number 15 Utah against Arizona State. Before we get to that, we have another coming up for Coach Sal. Thank you, Coach Sal, for commenting in the chat. Don't get that a lot on Twitter Spaces as much as I did when I was this was on Colorcast. He says, can't believe the Saints let them carry that win with Pacheco and Rice out. That was Carr's chance to prove himself and blew it. I absolutely agree. And by like Carr does this every year. Like he's not the worst quarterback. He's a like if you put pieces around him right, he can be an average quarterback. But he is as unclutch as the guys. I don't know if there's a less unclutch quarterback in the league. Like if you want to say Dak Prescott, that's very fair, or Tua or something. But he does this every year, you know. And the Chiefs might just do this to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're going to get Pacheco back at some point. They're looking to trade for a receiver. They're talking about trade for Devontae Adams. I don't think they will. I don't think they're ready to trade him there. But yeah, Derek Carr, absolute fraud. But yeah, Utah, Arizona State. I'm going to take Utah. Arizona State's been a little bit better this year. But give me Utah. They're a pretty good team. Give me them. Into the Saturday slate. Number 7 Alabama against South Carolina. They lose to South Carolina. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I was thinking of a dreadful loss to Vanderbilt, but I think they get it done against South Carolina. They're not that good. Give me the Crimson Tide. Number 10 Clemson against Wake Forest. Give me Clemson. They've played a lot better since that tough loss in week 1. Dabo obviously with his transfer portal just not wanting to use it for whatever reason. Obviously is a concern, but they've been playing a lot better. Give me Clemson against a not a good Wake Forest team. Number 21 Missouri against UMass. Give me Missouri. They had a tough loss to Texas A&M last week, but therefore they won the first 4 before that. UMass is very bad at football, like really bad, like one of the worst teams in the country bad. Give me Missouri. Number 1 Texas against number 18 Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. Give me Texas. Oklahoma's pretty good, but Texas, they are phenomenal. It's going to be hard for someone to beat them. They might have the 2 best quarterbacks in the entire country. That's how good they are. They are just phenomenal. They have a very good defense. That's a great team. They're number 1 in the country for a reason. I'm not sure if it'll be Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. Either way, I have the Longhorns winning. Hook 'em horns for that one. Number 4, Penn State. Penn State is ranked 4th in the country, by the way. Against USC. Give me Penn State. You know, USC's been struggling. They need to get rid of Lincoln, really. I'm sorry. The guy is the most fraudulent, overrated coach in college football. Give me Penn State in that game. Stanford is number 11 Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame. I do think there will be a game that Notre Dame loses. I thought they should not. They do it every year, but it's not this one. Stanford's not a very good football team. Although I don't think Rhode Island is that good. Give me Notre Dame. Cal against number 22 Pittsburgh. Give me Pitt. They're playing well right now. Cal's been a bit of a tough out in the ACC. You know, those ACC matches have been kind of close. But give me Pitt. They're playing some good football right now. Purdue against number 23 Illinois. Give me Illinois now. And Purdue is absolutely terrible this year. Give me Illinois. Arizona against number 14 BYU. Give me BYU. Arizona, they picked up a big win a couple weeks ago, but they've been a little better than I thought. But BYU's playing really well. 14th in the country. That's an absolute shock. Give me BYU in that game. Mississippi State against number 5 Georgia. Georgia should cruise in that game. That should not be all that close. Mississippi State is absolutely horrible. Georgia should pounce in that one. Florida against number 8 Tennessee. Tennessee had a tough loss to Arkansas this past week, but I do think they beat Florida. Florida has not been good in years. Bill Napier is a terrible coach. Give me the Volunteers in that game. And what could be a game of the year candidate, number 7 Ohio State against number 3 Oregon. I'm going to take Ohio State. I wish I didn't say that. I do not like Ohio State by any means, but Oregon, look, they're 5-0. They've had a couple of games, but they should have probably won by 20 or 30. They only won by about a score or so. They're 3rd in the country, which is kind of crazy, but they look beatable. This should be an amazing game, but I think Ohio State will take it. If not, we need to have a conversation with Ryan Day, because he just can't be at that point. It's the writing's on the wall. Number 9 Ole Miss against number 13 LSU, which would be another incredible game. Give me Ole Miss in that one. I could definitely see LSU picking up that win, but Jackson Darts played pretty well. 12 touchdowns, 3 picks, along with 2,100 yards already. LSU to me is a good and a great team. Ole Miss, they've had a very good season overall. Give me the Rebels in that game. Number 11 Iowa State against West Virginia. Give me Iowa State. I think their talent overall will just prevail in that game. Number 15 Kansas State against Colorado. Give me K-State. Colorado's played a lot better. They have, since that tough loss to Nebraska. But still, they can't stop anybody. The offensive line is horrible. Give me Kansas State. And the number 17, Boise State against Hawaii. Give me Boise State. Ashley Gentry, I'm sure, will go crazy again. He's already got over 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. It's been 5 games. He's having an historic year. Oh, 16 touchdowns. I didn't even think that number was real. I had to squint it for a minute. That didn't even sound real. Wow. Give me Boise State in that game. All right, to close out, we gotta talk about Bad Blood this past Saturday. It was an incredible PLE. First time Bad Blood been brought back in 27 years. It was in Atlanta, Georgia. We opened up with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell. Yeah, absolutely incredible. One of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever. That might be the best Hell in a Cell match since Foley against Undertaker. And there have been some good ones. Taker CM Punk at WrestleMania in 2013, I think it was great. But, you know, Undertaker Triple H with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee was absolutely phenomenal. This one, I think, clears both of those. That had everything. It had blood. It had brutality. Just the storytelling, you know, was just phenomenal. If Drew, you know, pouring the beads on CM Punk and CM Punk countering. Both those guys, Punk couldn't even stand up after the match. Drew had to get staples in his freaking skull. Oh my God. What a match. That's honestly, you could argue that should have been the main event. Absolutely amazing. What a trilogy that was. What a rivalry there was between Punk and McIntyre. Absolutely incredible. Kudos to both of them. I'm not a CM Punk fan, but holy moly did he deliver. And Drew McIntyre, wow. What a talent he is. This is a guy, he started in WWE, you know, wasn't great. You know, he was obviously in 3MB, got fired. They brought him back, and he has turned himself into an absolute superstar. Incredible talent. He absolutely delivered against a guy who he does not like. He doesn't like CM Punk in real life. He said it on the Chris Van Vliet's podcast. But an absolutely amazing match. That might be the match of the year, honestly. Then the WWE Women's Championship was Nia Jax against Bayley. Nia Jax retains. Match was okay. You know, obviously they teased Tiffany. She was about to cash in, and Nia set up like she's the freaking Undertaker. And then that scared Tiffany away. Best of One's very interesting. It's very juicy. With, you know, I think Tiffany's going to cash in at some point. Damian Priest against Finn Balor. Damian Priest picks up the win. Just to try to get involved. We'll see where it goes with that. You know, how much longer they're gonna continue to, you know, do like the Blood Judgment Day Civil War kind of thing here. But Priest picks up the win. Women's World Championship, Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan ended in a disqualification. Raquel Rodriguez is back. So here are my thoughts on this. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought the concept of Raquel coming back and helping Liv, remember she's had problems with Rhea for a while. Rhea put her on the shelf. She's had a lot of injury concerns for a while now. That's why she's been in action for so long. She was friends with Liv Morgan at one point. At one point, they were women's tag champs. So it makes sense. I didn't love the way that they executed that. The fact they had it end in DQ and she like threw Liv on top of Rhea when there was no pinfall need to be made didn't make a lot of sense. You know, the crowd didn't react too well to that. So I didn't think they executed that too well, if I'm being honest, but I am excited to see where that goes. They're going to have to finish up that Liv and Rhea thing at some point. I mean, obviously you can't let Morgan be Rhea Ripley clean. You just can't do it. But I'm hoping they kind of finish it up pretty soon. Also, I think they should, the jump that they should kind of take a little break. Do Liv. Looks like the Tower Twins are probably going to break up. I think Rhea and Priest are probably going to go start in their separate directions. Let Rhea fight Raquel, and then, you know what, at Crown Jewel, and then maybe it's Survivor Series. You do maybe you reignite that. You have Rhea beat Liv, get the title back, do something like that. But they're gonna have to figure that out. Obviously, it was very funny having Dom hanging him in the shark cage. You remember he almost fell out of it. For a second, I was like, "Whoa, is this guy about to plummet off the freaking shark cage?" It was crazy. He was just hanging there. And Rhea beat him with a candlestick. That was very funny. And then Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teamed against Jacob Fatu and Sol Sikoa. Roman Reigns and Cody pick up the win. Of course, a returning Jimmy Uso distracted the Bloodline, leads to Roman spearing Solo and picking up the win. Absolutely incredible. Then after the match, Roman and Jimmy Uso, embrace and they hug. That was absolutely an incredible moment. Jimmy was the first to leave Roman, but through it all, he let be bygones. They are now reading now. It was absolutely incredible moment. Then they left the ring. The Bloodline, the Oldham, the Tongas, Solo, and Fatu were beating up Cody Rhodes. Jimmy was like, no, we gotta go and help him. Roman was like, no, it's a one-time thing. He was like, dude, we gotta do it, and they did. They fought him off, and then Roman, and Jimmy were standing in the ring. Roman picks up Cody's title. He slowly hands the title back to Cody, and then as Cody raises it, The Rock's music hits. The final boss is back. He stared on all of them. He did 3, 2, 1, and his music hit again. That was absolutely incredible. The Rock is back. I cannot wait to see how that goes. Survivor Series is going to be incredible. He already cut another promo on Instagram right after that happened. It was so funny. He's the best. The Rock is back. That is Bad Blood. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.